Hey guys, working on a project that's somewhat unusual, mostly due to the thickness of the inlay I had to create. So this customer was installing a floor that I really have nothing to do with and I haven't even seen, but I was told it's 4.5 millimeters in thickness. So between us professionals, yeah, we're probably talking about garbage. It's a very thin flooring that's being glued down, and the customer wanted a floor medallion to be installed and inlaid into this floor. And going against myself, I actually almost talked him out of it, but he insisted. Not really keen on making very, very thin inlays, but it was also a challenge at the same time, which I like challenges. So here's what we're talking about. The design is great. It's got horses, but look at this. I mean, there's just no integrity to the plywood whatsoever that's on the bottom. And the veneer is so thin too that I actually wasn't sure if it could even be done. Now, luckily, as bad as this looks, it takes very little to no pressure to flatten it. So as long as it's weighed down properly, thoroughly, and evenly everywhere while the glue is drying, it will be fine. It just looks really bad right now. It is what it is. The adhesive had moisture in it, and the glue press, of course, once it comes out, it still has moisture content locked in. And when it dries, it's uneven. And I knew all this going into it, but I also know that it will be fine once it's pressed down and weighed down. So, where are we right now? It's really unfinished. The piece is unfinished at the moment. I'm gonna just pick up at the 120 grit sanding, which Dynabrade, it's a brand new sander that I just got, and I actually have not turned it on yet. I just hooked it up. This is literally the first time, and just to be able to do this video today, I kind of improvised creating this hookup. And the secret ingredient in all this is the duct tape. It's a secret Hungarian duct tape, which without you cannot succeed. Anyway, that's a joke. So I'm gonna, as much as possible, I'm gonna clamp it down to at least have a little bit of, or minimizing the Humpty Dumpties. But again, even the pressure of the sander as I go, will be able to, I just put enough pressure where the area I'm working in will be flat enough for sanding. Wow, machine is sweet. One finger. So smooth. Alright, continuing here the next day, opened up my brand new jar of Odie's oil, regular Odie's oil. I'm gonna mix it well. So this piece was sanded up to 400 grit. So I'm applying it with the brand new applicator with the gray pad on it. This is the finer gray pad. I think it's 800 to 1,000 grit. Makes it easier on the fingers using the block. Just spread it out real good, working in the wood. In this case, I obviously gonna go through some extra because you guys can't feel it, but this surface carved texture is open, very open, and gotta get it down there. The Super Duper would have been a good alternative, but I can get it in there like this just fine as well. I wanted a little more build, so I'm going with the regular oil. You guys are not going to have to work this hard because these flat parts are so much easier than the texturized parts. However, the cool part about the texturized parts is, if you guys could feel this, it is like feeling literally the hairs on the animals and the horses themselves. It is super realistic. Using the reflection of light, you know, is a good way to help see what's going on. Where it might need a little more, where it was soaking in. Work it in, work it in. I'm just gonna have to really kind of have to do what you won't have to do, and we don't recommend on the flat surfaces, which is, you know, applying too much oil. You don't want to do that. But I've got to get down. These carved lines are maybe a 16 to at least a 30-second deep. So yeah, it's got to get down there. All right, the oil has been applied, rubbed in, worked in perfectly evenly. I'm gonna let this sit now, probably at least an hour. Could be less, could be more, but for me, that's what I need. All right, the hour's up. Time for wipe down. Yeah, the oil is saturated nicely everywhere. Use this side. You want to remove all the oil, everything. Get it all off. Leave nothing on. You know, I've wiped a few times now. I paused it, didn't want to bore you with 20 minutes of wiping. Actually, it wasn't that much. But, you know, you want to keep flipping the rag. You know, this is no good. You want to get it to a virgin, clean side. And when you really aren't getting anything off anymore, then you're done. I'm not used to working with this thin inlay. It was a special order, as I mentioned it before. The specs were crazy, so thin, but anyway, it worked out. I even managed to create this beautiful surface engraving, carving type of thing. There's not enough depth to do the true 3D that I am known for, but this is a beautiful alternative look. Still brings out all the beautiful details. And if you touch this, I mean, I'm not even leaving marks anymore, by the way. Nothing. Cannot see any of my fingerprints, nothing. For me, this part soaked in a lot of extra oil because there's extra surface, extra oil, and wiping it off was actually a little more difficult, more time consuming because of that. But you guys aren't gonna likely to be dealing with anything like that, so I paused the camera. But now it's all good, all dry. I'm gonna let this sit probably a couple of days, and probably do another coat of regular Odie's oil. So the first one was regular Odie's oil, and the second one will be as well.